Hello dear viewers, time again for the news here on Rwanda Television with me, Serge Nhore. As always, we'll begin with the headlines. Rwanda has joined other countries on the continent in marking African Anti-Corruption Day. And on the international scene, Spanish emergency authorities have announced that 12 people have so far been confirmed dead following the wildfires that have swept through the country in the last 24 hours. Now straight to the details. The Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee on Friday afternoon questioned the Ministry of Health and the Rwanda Biomedical Center in a public hearing over irregularities identified in the Auditor General's report for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Members of the committee noted that the ministry has not adequately implemented the Auditor General's recommendations, as its compliance rate stood at 62%, well below the acceptable benchmark of 80%. The Auditor General also found that 128 health posts across the country were not operational. In response, the ministry explained that measures have already been put in place to strengthen health posts by increasing staffing levels, providing additional equipment, and expanding the range of diseases and conditions that can be treated at the facilities. Now, Rwanda's Chief Ombudsperson, Madeleine Nerere, has noted that the country has made significant progress by putting in place laws and mechanisms to combat corruption, which is one of the key factors behind Rwanda's strong performance in the fight against the vice. Rwanda joined other countries on the continent in marking African Anti-Corruption Day. The day was marked by discussions bringing together various institutions to explore measures aimed at promoting the value of integrity and strengthening ongoing anti-corruption initiatives and programs. Rwanda is among 49 countries that signed the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, adopted in 2003. At both the regional and international levels, Rwanda has maintained a strong standing in the fight against corruption, although further progress is still needed to achieve the country's goal of becoming one of the world's leading nations in combating the vice. Now, Airtel Rwanda, in partnership with the financing company Watu, has officially launched a program that enables people to acquire smartphones and pay for them in affordable installments. The initiative is expected to increase the number of Rwandans who own smartphones. Although it was officially launched on Thursday this week, the program has been operating for the past 2 months. To qualify, customers need only an Airtel SIM card and a national ID. They can visit any Airtel branch across Rwanda or an Airtel authorized phone retailer to choose the smartphone they want, agree with the retailer on an initial down payment, and then pay the remaining balance in installments over an agreed period. Airtel Rwanda's managing director explained that the initiative was introduced in response to customer demand for smartphones, which have become increasingly expensive.
I think the basic rule is that we are the telecom partner. We are ensuring that the customer gets a new Airtel Money wallet, and the entire Watu financing is actually integrated with our Airtel Money wallet. And of course, yes, the partner is using an Airtel SIM, and he or she is getting our data offers, the different benefits that Airtel offers. So this is basically a role, and the entire objective is to ensure that the customers who cannot really thinking of buying a phone, but upfront payment is not that easy because the phone prices are going up. This financing scheme with Watu and Airtel really gives a fantastic affordable access to the customers, to the prospects for upgrading their phones, because I think this is also a great opportunity to upgrade 2G and 3G phones to 4G and 5G phones, because a lot of people upgrade their devices. So we all believe that this entire tie-up between Watu and Airtel.
Sujay Chakrabarti, the managing director of Airtel Rwanda, speaking there. Now, Watu's regional manager for East Africa, that's Adril Volker, emphasized that the company's long-term goal is to make smartphones accessible to as many Rwandans as possible.
We have long-term commitment to serve our clients in Rwanda. Our expectation is to grow numbers in Rwanda together with Airtel and Airtel Money. And we would like to give access to productive loan to our clients. We are financing smartphones and EV bikes in Rwanda. And our aspiration is to serve as many clients as possible. So we used to say that the limit is the sky. So we would like to serve any and every client in Rwanda. So far we financed more than 2,200 clients and we believe that we could reach first hundreds, then thousands, then 10,000s and hundreds of thousands of clients across Rwanda.
Now, the program follows Airtel's Imagine Phone initiative, through which more than 1.2 million phones were sold under an installment payment scheme. In the 2 months since Airtel and Watu began their partnership, more than 2,200 smartphones have so far been distributed. Now, as Africa prepares for an era increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, one of the continent's leading public intellectuals says the biggest challenge is no longer developing policies, but turning them into action. Speaking at the All Africa Leadership Summit here in Kigali, the Kenyan lawyer, activist, and public speaker, Professor Patrick Lumumba, urged African governments to invest in research, technology, and innovation, arguing that AI can transform sectors from education to agriculture if backed by effective leadership.
These are early days for artificial intelligence, and it is inevitable that mistakes will be made, but we ought not to be negative. I think what we ought to do is to recognize the fact that at policy level, almost all African countries have recognized that artificial intelligence is the thing that must be embraced. Of course, African countries are slow in actually embracing what one may describe as marrying the theory and the practice. And I'm happy that I'm speaking in Rwanda, where the government is in the forefront. But I believe in the next few months, most African countries will recognize the need to give practical meaning to what is being stated in policy papers, and that this will be translated into action.
Professor, if you had the ears and the eyes of the presidents, African presidents, what is that one decision you would ask them to make now? Of course, you mentioned about that sustainability from just our children, but also our grandchildren. What is that one decision you would ask them to make right now for that, for a better prepared Africa?
Embrace technology as the avenue for changing the quality of people's lives. Ensure that government invests in research and technology, enable institutions of higher learning, and say with your mouth what you believe in your mind, and ensure that the gulf between declarations and delivery is bridged. Once you do that, then the changes will be self-evident in education, in health, in agriculture, in the entire economy. And that is what leadership is all about.
The professor added that Rwanda has demonstrated how discipline and implementation can turn policy into tangible results.
Discipline is half the journey. What the administration of President Kagame has instituted in Rwanda is the discipline. And once you have discipline as the lifeblood of activities, then it gives birth to honesty, then it gives birth to vision, then it gives birth to compassion, and then it gives birth to all these things which are external signs, so that the police person or the police woman and man in the bit will not accept a bribe. because there are consequences, there is accountability, there is transparency. The contractor who has been given the task of doing the roads will not compromise standards. The minister who has been assigned duties will ensure that they deliver. And when this happens, and it is happening in Rwanda, then the country begins to see the dividend. The country does not need to talk about GDP. When you hear countries talking about GDP most of the time, those are statistics. People are talking about gross national happiness. You go to rural villages in Musanze and you talk to a woman or a man who is in the village. Are they happy? Are the schools delivering? Are the hospitals delivering? Is the agricultural sector working? And I think for the moment, the administration led by President Paul Kagame is doing that.
The All-Africa Leadership Summit is taking place under the theme Leading in the Age of AI, bringing together policymakers, entrepreneurs, and technology experts to discuss Africa's leadership in a rapidly changing digital world. Now, Rwanda's ambition to become a continental sports hub is gathering pace, with this year's Mountain Gorilla Rally bringing together top drivers from across Africa. Organizers say the event is helping position Rwanda as a destination for world-class motorsport and sports investment.
Tanzania. This event is more than a competition. It's a celebration of friendship among drivers, among organizers, among sponsors, and among countries. Every year, the event brings together people from different countries, different cultures, united by one common passion, which is the speed and the adrenaline of motorsport. Over the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Sunday, the world is going to watch motorsport happening in Africa. This year is a big achievement, not only for Rwanda, but for the countries hosting the African Rally Championship. Not more than 2 years, 3 years ago, this same championship was having 3, 4, 5 cars part of the African Rally Championship. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, I'm happy to confirm that today we have 15 cars competing in the African Rally Championship, starting here today. Not only the number, but also the quality. The drivers, the top best drivers on the continent, their names were mentioned earlier, they are here. We are expecting a good show. The best cars are here. And it's a testament that the event is growing and the sport is growing in all good direction. This sport is our passion, but now it has become a mission to make sure that we deliver world-class events and we position Rwanda as the home of motorsport on the continent. And all I can say, it is happening. Watch this space, things are happening, and even bigger is going to come.
Christia Gakwaya, the president of the Rwanda Automobile Club, speaking there. Now, the rally, part of the FIA African Rally Championship, has attracted crews from 7 countries. Rwanda's Minister of Sports says hosting such events reflects Rwanda's long-term investment in sport as a catalyst for tourism, business, and international visibility.
It's not just an event, it's a celebration of a commitment, of passion, but also of aspirations. It's about passion, it's about exploring, it's about not having limits or impossibilities. It is about discipline, it is about all that focus, but it is also about being able to have a vision around something. So today, as we open officially this round, I wanted also to mention and appreciate our visionary leadership we have under His Excellency Paul Kagame. Let us appreciate the leadership we have. Because with that leadership, sport is a strategic sector that has been invested in intentionally and that has been an anchor and that is being opened as a hub for the country but also the continent. And motorsport is having a particular emphasis I'm not going to French a lot of appetite of people here. I know a lot of questions have been asked about F1, and F1. Yes, as the president said it, we aspire to host it, and we will host it. Let us not forget that. So as we build up towards that, we want to commend actions like these ones and activities like these ones and more to come, because this is a beginning, but it's also a statement that it is possible and that there is possibility and more potential into this. There's potential as racers, drivers, but there's also potential as investors. So I invite you to do this as a competition, but also to use this opportunity to explore avenues of investment for the future.
Nelly Mkazaire, Rwanda's Minister of Sports, addressing delegates there. Now, the three-day Rwanda Mountain Gorilla Rally continues through Sunday in Bugesera, with drivers competing for valuable African Rally Championship points. I'll stay with you as we begin the weekend. So until I see you next time, goodbye for now.